The very first decluttering rule that changed my life is this. Never declutter where the clutter lives. Instead, bring it somewhere else. Find an empty table, a countertop, or the floor, any space with light and room to think. Because clutter feels overwhelming when it is surrounded by even more clutter. But the moment you move into a clean surface, something changes. Suddenly, you can actually see what you're dealing with. And if sorting by category feels impossible for now, just don't do it. Start with one shelf, or one drawer, or one box, or even 1 square meter. Whatever works for you. That is enough. In fact, that is my second decluttering rule. Always choose a section that you can finish. The goal isn't to start, the goal is to finish. I see people pull everything out of a room, create a giant mess, get overwhelmed, and then leave it sitting for days. Please don't do that. Choose a space that is small enough that you can complete it today. Even if it's just a junk drawer, or especially if it's just a junk drawer. Because every completed project builds momentum. And momentum matters more than ambition. The third rule is, stop waiting for the perfect time. You can always start. You're pregnant? Start. You're busy? Start. You have kids? Start. No energy? Just start smaller. I'm currently 8 months pregnant, and trust me, there are days where I don't feel like doing anything. But I keep this quote in my mind that says, don't wait until you feel motivated, because motivation comes from actions. When you start, you feel motivated after a while, and not the other way around. The next rule completely changed the way I declutter. Don't start with your favorite stuff. Start with the easiest stuff. One of the biggest mistakes people make is starting with the most emotional category. Clothes, family items, memories, whatever is emotional to you. And of course, that is hard. Your decluttering muscles aren't strong enough yet. Why would you start with the heaviest weight in the gym? For some people, clothes are easy though. For me, they are more emotional. That's why I often start with documents. Old warranties, expired papers, random receipts. Usually, the easiest categories are the ones where letting go doesn't feel expensive. Things that don't have a huge environmental impact when you declutter them. And things that didn't cost a lot of money. Things that don't carry a lot of emotional weight. That's the things where you can start. If a category feels too heavy, just leave it for now. Go somewhere else. Your decluttering muscles get stronger over time. Choose easy wins. And if you don't know where to start, in this video I shared 33 things that you can declutter today. Another rule that changed my life is learning to respect the limits of my home. Your home will never ever be big enough if you don't respect its boundaries. People think they need more storage. And bigger closet, a bigger garage, a bigger house even. But clutter expands to fill the space available. Just like people often earn money and somehow still cannot save. The same thing happens with stuff. Things take the space you give them. So instead of constantly creating more storage, learn to appreciate empty space. An empty shelf isn't wasted. An empty surface isn't unfinished. It's breathing room, it's also visual rest, and to me it's also peace. The next rule is incredibly important. Start where you feel the impact. Now most people immediately think about the attic, the basement, the storage room, all the boxes they haven't touched in 10 years. But ignore those for now. They are out of sight anyway. Decluttering can feel hard because you have to invest time now to save time later on. And when you're just getting started, you need to experience the reward quickly. So start somewhere that affects your daily life. If you cook every day, start in the kitchen. If you struggle to relax, Start in the bedroom. Create one space where you can immediately feel the difference. That's what keeps you going. Now let's talk about the biggest reason why people don't declutter. Guilt. Whenever I've helped people declutter, they almost always say the same thing. I'll get rid of it once I find a sustainable option. I'll get rid of it once I can sell it for a high price. But usually, that's not really the problem. The problem is guilt. We're guilty because we wasted our hard-earned money. We are guilty because we overconsumed. We're guilty because we bought things we didn't need. So let me tell you the sentence that changed everything for me. The money is already wasted. The money is already gone. The moment you brought that item into your home, most of its value disappeared. Print that sentence out if you struggle with overconsumption. Because it's true. We buy things. We attach emotions to them. And suddenly we think they are worth more than they actually are. They are not, except that you have made mistakes. We all have. And the same is true for environmental guilt. Yes, maybe some items can be donated, maybe some can be recycled, but not everything. A lot of clutter is simply clutter. And no amount of guilt will change anything about that. Learn the lesson and forgive yourself. And make better decisions in the future. One thing that really opened my eyes was helping elderly people declutter their homes. Because eventually, if you don't deal with your stuff now, someone else will in the future. And what usually happens? A giant dumpster arrives. And most of it gets thrown away. The clutter doesn't magically become valuable one day. It doesn't turn into treasures. It just follows you around until someone finally gets rid of it. Which brings me to another rule. Get rid of things immediately. Don't create a donation pile that lives in your hallway for 6 months. Don't create a selling pile that becomes a new category of clutter. Once you've made the decision, follow through. And finally, count what you declutter. People underestimate how motivating this is. Our brains love numbers. We track steps, we track our money, we track our weight loss. Why not track decluttering? Count the items. Celebrate the progress and be proud of it. Those are the decluttering rules that changed my life. One question I hear all the time is, what should I actually do with the things that I've decluttered? If you would like a video about that, let me know in the comments. I'd love to make one. I talk to you guys soon. Bye!